MLA Paper Format. Use this format for every paper you write for this class. All this brief PowerPoint will show is how to do a proper heading, header, and where on your paper you would begin writing. This is really important because this is the same format I expect on every paper, but also this helps the paper before anybody even reads the first word see that it is very neat and polished composition. So it's just when we say MLA paper formatting, we're just talking about what it looks like before our eyes even see the words. Setting up the essay. Remember, every essay that we type in here is set up the same way, and that just is to give the overall MLA look to the paper. So the first thing you want to do is set your paper to double space. Okay, set your paper to double space, and you do so by going to the Home tab up here, finding where it says Paragraph, and then clicking on that. Then you'll see where you can say line spacing, set it to double, and hit OK. And that's the first thing you do before words even appear on the page. Now numbers 2 and 3 are the header and the heading. There is a difference between the header and the heading. Okay, the header will appear on every single page, and it's the last name, your last name, and the page number. It is going to appear in the top right hand corner. So if I look, if you look to the heading over to the right here, the name is Sally Student. So pretend student's the last name. So up here on the top right, the last name Student, and then the page number right after that. To set up a header, you would go to the Insert tab, and you're actually going to see where it says Insert Header, but don't go there. Instead, go to Insert Page Numbers and select the third option where it shows the page number at the top right hand of the screen. And after you set that, it's going to appear there's going to be a dotted line kind of like this, but a lot neater, and it's going to show just the page number. Okay, and right in front of the page number, you're going to type your last name and then a space. Okay, then to get out of the header setting, you're just going to double click below the dotted line. Okay, so double click below the dotted line, and then it'll take you to the rest of the paper. If you do not double click below the dotted line, everything you type will appear on every single page. So remember, with the header, we just want it. We want just the last name of the student and the page number to appear on every page. Next up, we have the heading. The heading would have your name, okay, then my name, just call me Mrs. Brown. The name of our course is ENG 1113 OOP, like oop. And then the date, okay? Typically we type the due date for the date, and notice how it's set up. It has the day first, then the month, and then the year. So 13 March 2017. Pretend you had a paper due on March 13, 2017. You don't, just pretend. The next thing you want to include is your title, and the title should be centered on the line. Okay, so of course, you're not going to name your paper title, but I want to point some things out about this. Your title is the name of your work, and it's just as important to name your work after you've written it. Typically, it is the thing you think of last because you got to write the whole paper before you decide what you're going to name it. But a title needs to be there. Now, a couple of things about formatting. The title is just you just hit enter once. Okay, so you notice there's not too much space between the heading and the title. So you hit enter one time, and then you align your cursor to the center by hitting Control E. Then you type the name of your title. Something else to notice about this title: it's not in bold font, it's not italicized, It's not in a font style larger than what I'm typing my paper in. It has no quotation marks around it. The way we discern a title in an MLA style paper from the rest of the paper is that we just put it on the center of a line. So don't do anything fancy to the title. All paragraphs must be indented. Okay, so you just indent by hitting the tab key one time. So begin typing your essay here. All paragraphs need to be indented. All right, hit the tab key one time and you're good. One more thing to point out in MLA formatting is what's an acceptable font. Okay, you have almost endless choices of fonts on Microsoft, but there's only really two that work well for academic papers, and that is the font style Calibri or Times New Roman. What I have showing on the screen to the right is Calibri style font. It automatically sets up to that font, and it's an appropriate font, so go ahead and use it. But if you're a Times New Roman fan, you can change it to that. Doesn't matter to me. But don't do anything fancy or script, that has lots of little scrolls and cutesy stuff. We don't do cutesy in academics, so save that for something else. Also, size of font, size is 10 to 12. The size font showing on the screen to the right is size 11. I like to start with size 11 because if I'm typing a paper and I have a required length, which you do, if I don't quite meet the length, I can try to highlight everything and bump up the font size to 12 to see if that'll take care of it. Or if I have too much, I'm going over the required length, I can try to bump the font size down to 10 to see if I meet the parameters of the assignment. So start with size 11, and that's a good font. This concludes our presentation on setting up the essay.